Hello, this is Morgan, and she's going to be sharing with you today what double shifts are. But before we can get into that, we must first understand what the term in the long run means. In the long run can be defined as a period in which full wage and price flexibility, as well as market adjustment, has been achieved so that the economy is at the natural level of employment and potential output. This can better be seen on a graph. Here we have an aggregate supply, aggregate demand graph. Let's say, for example, that there is a negative supply shock due to a large increase in resource cost. This decreases short-run aggregate supply, which causes for price level to increase and for our GDP to decrease. Here's where the double shifting takes place. Once price level increases, then wages and resource costs also increase, causing for short-run aggregate supply to decrease again. This leads to an overall increase in price level and an overall decrease in our GDP. This right here is called stagflation, and it is a very terrible place for the economy to be. During stagflation, there is high inflation combined with high unemployment. How does an economy get out of stagflation, you ask? The answer is economic growth, which is defined as an increase in the amount of goods and services produced per head of the population over a period of time. Productivity can contribute to the growth of an economy. There are three factors of economic growth. 1, human capital. 2, physical capital. And 3, technology. Human capital is defined as a collection of skills, knowledge, or other intangible assets of an individual that can contribute to economic value. Physical capital refers to a factor of production, such as machinery, buildings, or computers. Technology is defined as the purposeful application of information in the design, production, and utilization of goods and services and the organization of human activities. Now let's get back to economic growth. There are two types of economic growth. There is potential growth and there is actual growth. Potential growth can be shown on a potential possibility curve. Potential growth can be shown on this curve by an outward shift of the potential possibility curve. Actual growth can be shown on an aggregate supply, aggregate demand graph, by the long run aggregate supply being shifted to the right, followed by an increase in aggregate demand. Now before we end, let's discuss 3 more terms that relate to economic growth. These terms are GDP, GDP per capita, and the rule of 70. The real economic growth rate measures economic growth in relation to gross domestic product, GDP, from one period to another and adjusts for inflation. Real GDP is divided by the population of a country to calculate the real GDP per capita, meaning per person. Once you can find a country's annual economic growth rate, you can find that country's doubling time by using the rule of 70. The doubling time is the period that is required for a quantity to double in size or value. You simply find the doubling time by taking 70 and dividing it by the annual growth rate as a percent. For example, if a country's economic growth rate is 4.2%, then its doubling time will be 70 divided by 4.2%. This comes out to be 16.6. This means that in about 17 years, this country's economy will double. Well guys, there you go. There's all you need to know about double shifts and economic growth. See you next time.